Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly update for November 10th, 2024. So it's kind of early in the morning because it's Sunday, and I'm going to go out and clean my garage. My brother and I are going to be moving my shelving back into place because supposedly I'm getting my garage doors. We're getting them on Tuesday, and I'm taking the day off. So I'm already concerned because I haven't heard anything since we made the appointment, so I'm hoping everything's okay. But they're supposed to be here Tuesday afternoon, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to do this fairly quickly, hopefully before my brother texts me to say he's ready to go out to the garage. But if it does, I will pause the video and we will come back. But I was trying to get this done so I could get this up today. Anyway, this has been a hard week, I think, for a lot of people. Not everybody, because some things went their way, was not my way. It's just been a really tough week overall, and I think my reading kind of reflects that, and I kind of let it. Update on the writing. I am writing, but very sporadically, which is fine because I have not been writing at all for over, for a year. So I'm over 8,000 so far for the month. So today's the 10th. So maybe later, I'm hoping this afternoon, I can catch up and get back up to 10,000. So I'm at 1,000 per day on average for the month. That's just kind of my goal this month, to get my kind of kickstart. And I might actually get to use my story engine books later. What are you doing? He's trying to get stuff off my shelf. Cooper. Anyway, so this week was a really rough week in a lot of ways. I didn't read as much as I wanted to. I had to revert to rereads because that's what I do when my mind won't settle on things. And then I also DNF'd a lot of books. So my last vlog finished on Saturday, and so we'll just kind of go from everything I read Sunday on from last week. So it's pretty much the week. So so let's talk about the books that I read, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. So I'm going to talk about the books I read first and get that done, and then we'll talk about some of the books that didn't go so well. So I did finish the novella V is for Vamp Woman as a buddy read with Burnet's Wicked Adventures. It's in this Vampires Gone Wild collection, but we read the Love at Stake book 13.5 in the series. So we are closing in on the end. We have, after this, we have 3 more novels, I believe. So this one was really cute. It was a character, the female character is one we've seen from the very beginning, and she comes off not as a great person, but I think this really showed some depth of something she's been thinking about through the books and things that had happened, and her decision that she wants to be brave and she wants to become Vamp Woman. She wants to join the fight. And so she trains off page here, and then she joins the guys who are actually warriors, who have been warriors for centuries. Again, these are vampire novels, paranormal romances. And she goes with this group. She ends up with this group, and one of the guys has always admired her but thought she wasn't for him, kind of thing, because he had his own past. So it was really a cute novella. It's very short. It's only 72 pages, so I did enjoy it. It for what it was. I mean, it wasn't like we got a lot because it's so short, but it was funny, like how Carolyn Sparks is. And anyway, my brother just texted me. Okay, so that was my brother. He just keeps texting me. Anyway, he's at Winco, and he was trying to tell me when the free turkey with purchase happens, and it's next week, starting Monday. Anyway, so we'll have to see if we go when we go to do that. Anyway, so this was really fun, and I'm glad I read this with Berna, and I'm looking forward to continuing the Love at Stake series with her because we only have 3 more books. Then my reading kind of, there's a couple bumps, which I'll talk about in a minute, but the next audiobook that I actually listened to and finished was Shield of Winter by Nalini Singh. So this is book 13 in the Side Changing series. So again, this is urban fantasy, paranormal romance, it matters how you want to classify it. I think this is more, it has characteristics of both. It's just great world building in this one. This is a futuristic, I would say, urban fantasy with humans, shifters, and people with psychic abilities who are vying for power. And again, this is pretty far into the series. Don't start here, but it is one of my favorite books, following Vasek and Ivy Jane. And it's just so many things are happening in this world at this point. It's hard to explain. But again, these are comfort reads for me. I read this pretty much every year. A lot of these books, as you guys know, these are my favorite things to reread is Nalini Singh books. So I did listen to this by Angela Daw. She does a great job of narrating the series. And anyway, I had to revert to that. I was in the middle of another audiobook and I just was like, I can't. Mostly to do with the way of the world right now here in America. So anyway, but I did really enjoy my reread of that, which I kind of figured I would reread after I read Hearts of Obsidian, because I almost always read the 3 books in a row, the 3 books that come afterwards. So I did pick up that as a reread. And then the book that I started, did I start it Sunday? Yeah, I started it Sunday and it took me all week to read just because I wasn't reading a lot physically. I would get home and I'd go write and then I'd read a little bit. And then some days I didn't read anything at all in the evening because of stuff going on in the world. Or here at home. Anyway, point is I read The Choice by Nora Roberts and finished this yesterday. So I am so glad to finish this trilogy. This was a really fun one. It is The Dragonheart Legacy. And this is one of her para-Noras. So this one is a portal fantasy where we're following Bryn, who, lived a very quiet life and is doing stuff she doesn't really want, but she's just trying to make it paycheck to paycheck. And she discovers that her father, who she thought just abandoned them after her parents were divorced when she was a child, he left them and just stopped contacting them. And then she finds out that he had left her all this money and her mother never told her. And then that changes her life to making a decision to go to Ireland, where he was from, and try to see if she can find him. And this leads her to a portal world. And this is very much a series where there is action, adventure, there is dragons, there is a lot of magic with fae and kind of demigods and things like that. But what drives this story is really finding family that you didn't know you had, as well as found family, like people who you accept as that is your family, is more your family than who blood relates you to. And the quiet moments in Nora Roberts' books are her best in her Paranoras, where she, again, she tries. Again, there's a lot of details in here that is really good for the fantasy, but again, I think this is just much more of a book that you read for the people. These are character books more. There is, again, I felt this ending to the whole, this is the 3rd book in the series. I felt the ending was a little rushed for me, and I kind of wanted a little bit of fan service in the end, which we didn't get. I kind of wanted that, but we got so much of it through the book that I can't really complain, because that's what really pushed the book forward. So anyway, I really enjoyed this series. It's definitely one I will probably revisit. I'm not sure I'm going to keep the hardback. I got this at a library sale, because at the time that was all it was out. So I might look for a paperback to exchange this out for at a library book sale, because the other 2 books I have in paperback. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was, I think it's a fun, light Nora Roberts paranormal. My favorite character of the year is from these books. And these books, even though I can't give these 5 stars because it the human side of it, the ones with the characters and their stories and stuff are definitely really well done, crafted. Again, she writes a lot of different kind of books, but your characters really drive a lot of her stories, which makes sense. But the fantasy part of it is a little weak for me, considering how much fantasy I read. So I can't give it a 5, but she did make me cry again. So she's pretty much made me cry in every one of these books for different reasons. But I really enjoyed it overall. I think it was just a fun series. So if you like some of her trilogies that are her paranoras, so a lot of them are witchy or some other have other kind of elements, I really enjoyed this one. This was the Dragonheart Legacy was one of the ones that I really enjoyed. So that's all I finished. Let's talk about my DNFs. So I had another buddy read this week, and Tia at Genres and Journals and I have buddy read over the past. We've done all the Alona Andrews books. Anyway, so I had done one of my triad chapters, kind of reading a lot of first books in series that I own that are paranormal romance or urban fantasy, and one of them she had on her shelf, so we decided to buddy read it, and that was Bitter Spirits by Jen Bennett, and this is the first book in the Roaring Twenties series. So I think that there are 3 books, and they came out, I think it's 2014, so I've owned this quite a long time. I mean, I got it 2013. So I must have got it not long after it, because the sticker from Pal's bookstore, it has the date of the 2014 on it. So I'm sure I bought it not too long after this. So both of us had these on our shelves for quite a while. Me probably a little longer than her. So this was following Ada, who is she's psychic of some sort. She can see spirit medium, that's what I want to say, and she's working in a speakeasy, and she has been roaming around the country, and she was from San Francisco. She's come back and is working at the speakeasy, and her boss asks her to meet up with this other guy to come into the club to talk to this other guy, her bootlegger, who is having a ghost problem. And so it's kind of their story. And again, this is the 1920s, so he is a bootlegger, and so there's danger there, but somebody has put a curse on him, and she is trying to help out. So okay, so this one, I was kind of concerned about this. I thought this was another author that I had read a couple books from that I've had trouble with, and I've DNF'd a lot of books. But I also know that this author writes a lot of YA. And nothing against that. But I'm saying is, I felt that these people who are 28 and 30 acted like teenagers with how randy their thoughts were. Like, it was just pretty pathetic on certain levels. And then there's just the way that they acted with each other and with other things. I nearly DNF'd the book at one point. In the middle of, I don't know, I was like 80 pages in, but I finished the second section to about 121 pages, and then we talked about it, and she had already not liked the characters, was getting the ick from that, and I was like, well, I wasn't quite sure I did. I felt I didn't like some of their thoughts about each other, but I thought, well, but I felt they were just like childish. Oh, when she, as a spirit medium, like does something at a party that is pretty damaging, first to who she did it to, second for something really, really petty. And then second of all is she did something that, she did it in front of, sorry, the cat just hit this, sorry. She did something in front of, like a lot of people who could pay for her to go to other parties or to make money. And she's like, that prospect never even crossed her mind. It was just like ridiculous. Anyway, this was a DNF at 121 pages. I was lucky I made it that far. We decided just to get rid of it. So anyway, another book. It was the first book off my shelf after Read What You Own started. So I have, but anyway, that was bad that it was a DNF. And I'm sorry, Tia and I did not enjoy this, but I'm glad we stopped. I think we both were like, yeah, this isn't working. So we're going to probably find another book at some point and do another buddy read later. But this one did not work for us. So that one's going bye-bye. And then, let's see here. Oh, this is the one. Okay, so I have it wrapped up, but can you tell by the shininess on that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. So my library hold was coming to an end for the audiobook on this. And so this week I was like, okay, I have to start this. So I listened to it. I think I listened to it Monday when I exercised, and then I just didn't feel like it later. And then Tuesday, I of course reverted to rereading. So I started listening to Shield of Winter. And I think Wednesday, I think that's what I did. Anyway, so I got back to this. What day? well, it might have been Wednesday morning. I tried to listen to it again, which I did. And then, oh no, I think it was Friday. I take it back. It was Wednesday morning. I tried to listen to this, and then I went to Shield of Winter. And then Thursday, it was like Friday or something. I listened to it on the treadmill, and I was 20 minutes into my 30 minutes, and something happens that I was just like, oh, I can't do this. I can't not do this on audio right now, because I wanted to skim ahead, because I was like, don't do that. Like, it was a stupid thing. So, okay, I think I'm having trouble. The author and I are just not mashing up, which is really sad, because this is such a pretty book. So, this is not a DNF forever kind of right now. So this is a Nordic inspired fantasy where we are following, what is her name? Freya. And she is, lives in her village, and she is married to someone she hates, and everything is going bad that way. And then one of the leaders from the area shows up, and he, is there because he has learned that she has a drop of goddess blood in her, the goddess Lean, I believe it is. And so she is supposed to be, he had been given this prophecy that she would be the shield maiden that would unite the country. So of course he wants to be the one in control of her, and she is forced to go with him. And there's things that happen to make that happen and stuff. But his son, Bjorn, and her have kind of a, like, there's an attraction there, but nothing's, I mean, it's still really, really early. But what happens in the scene that I set this book down was, to me, again, one of those points where you're like, you're 20 years old and have lived through all of this stuff, and you're doing that right now? Like, okay, so I had to put it down. So I let the audiobook go back to my library. I re-put it on hold. So maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, I'll get it again and I will try it again. But this is the first book in the saga of the Unfated. And this author, her ideas are really good. She writes really well. This is not, it's not a problem that way. I think that's why so many people like Danielle L. Jensen's books. And but I dislike the Bridge Kingdom for pretty much the same reason I hated this one, is that these are not, okay, so they are strong female women with their own opinions and things like that. But in some ways, they're kind of blind to so much that, like, you kind of want to tell them to, hey, just step back and just kind of pay attention to what's going on around you, not just think about yourself. Like, I know that they're in bad situations, both of them, and we're forced into things almost on the same kind of line. But I just feel like there's like a disconnect with them being smart and yet not thinking things through. And for me. Anyway, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do on this. As I said, I'm about, I think I'm 70 some pages in. 72 pages in. So I'm not very far. Like, it's like I'm only like that. I don't know. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. So I told myself I would come back to it, but it's a soft DNF at this point. So that's about all I can say about that. Anyway. And then, so it's not on my read what you own list, because it's not technically a full DNF yet. So anyway, so then the third book that I have, second book that I have, okay, how do I want to put this? Okay, this next book that I DNF'd is a DNF Forever. So this is the third book on my read what you own list. But that is Walking the Invisible, Following in the Bronte's Footsteps by Michael Stewart. So this, I'm reading for Nonfiction November for Path, because it's footsteps and, you know, walking in the path of. And I got 38 pages in, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So I read 2.5 chapters. Well, I read the prologue, and then the whatever they called that, the introduction by somebody else, and then I read 2.5 chapters. And okay, so this is what I wanted was, you know, talking about the Brontes, and then talking about the area, and maybe explain, you know, like I thought this was more of talking about the history of taking the steps that, you know, where the Brontes journeyed, went around there, you know, what kind of connects to other, places that are around that connect to their books in some way. And I have finished all their books, and I did read the Brontes by Juliet Barker, which was excellent earlier this year. So I just thought this was kind of a companion to kind of get a little bit different. Now, the problem is that this guy actually, I don't know if he runs a business, but he runs something, he has something to do with, they put these stones up, these Bronte stones in the area that talks about them. And so he's pretty much tooting his own horn of how much he likes the Brontes and what he's done for the society of people who like the Brontes. And like, he even talks about this poor woman who, well, not poor woman, this woman who comes over from another country who only has a day to do this tour of the moors, and her first guide canceled out on her, so he takes her, and then and she's looking at it differently from him of what's important from the books than he's looking at in their lives. And it was just ridiculous. Like, I'm like, why do I want to read this? I don't want to read this. And so I kind of lost faith with it in chapter 2. And then I started to read chapter 3, and it just didn't do anything for me. I just I like biographies that actually make sense or there's like a real connection to it. And I was not connecting to this writer. I was not connecting to the story. And I started this over on the weekend for Nonfiction November. It was my first one. I'm trying to do one or two, I was trying to do one a week, at least, to get through them. And I already DNF'd another one, put back on my shelf for later. But anyway, I just got tired of this one, so I DNF'd that. So that one is also going away. So let's talk about the books I'm in the middle of, and again, one book I'm pretty sure I'm going to start. We'll see what happens. So I'm in the middle of Shards of Hope by Nalini Singh on audio. Again, this is done by Angela Daw, and they're really good. So this is the third one in the series I like to do all together. This is book 14. And I really enjoy this one. So I am just over 320 pages. So I have about 180. So I have a couple hours left on audio to listen to. So if I feel like it today, I might listen to some of this in the afternoon. I do have to cook. I'm making pizza hot dish, which is kind of involved. So we will see. I might listen to some then. I might do something and to get it done. I do want to kind of finish it today. It's kind of my goal. So, but we'll see. Anyway, great reread. Again, I'm just enjoying that. So I am rereading that one. I did look at starting my next nonfiction because I DNF'd the other one. So I might start A Tomb with a View, The Stories and Glories of Graveyards by Peter Ross. I did read the introduction. He wrote this just as COVID hit and finished it and got it. It was published that year, and his introduction kind of explains that it wasn't his intention to have this come out the year that all happened. And anyway, so it's going to talk about different graveyards and things on graveyards and things. Anyway, I don't know. This is mine one for join, because unfortunately we're all going to join this club at the end. Anyway, so for Nonfiction November. So I'm going to try to start that. I don't know how far I'll get. I might try to read a chapter a day or what. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't think it'll be my primary read, because I don't actually know it's going to be my primary physical read, because I don't know what I'm in the mood for. And I'll probably decide that later today. And then the last thing is the audiobook I'll start after I finish Shards of Hope, because I have less than a week now to finish A Court of Wings in Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. So again, my library for some reason released all these copies of this book, and I got it a couple weeks ago, and I've been trying to get it on, to read it, but I had other books that I'd had longer. So anyway, so this is book 3 in the ACOTAR series, and I'm curious to see where it goes due to what happened at the end of A Court of Mist and Fury. I still would like to kind of finish the ACOTAR series before the end of the year, but right now there's no way in my library I would get A Court of Silver Flames. I might have to buy that one, but we'll see. So anyway, I did listen to just like 10 minutes, because on the treadmill when I could not listen to Fate, Inked in Blood, I switched over to this just to start it. So I listened to 10 minutes of it. So And then when I got to work, I decided to, I think I started Shards of Hope on Friday. That's right. Anyway, I am hoping to get to this. Again, this is a book that I'm intrigued to see what happens. I'm worried because it's a gigantic, not because I don't like big books, but because I stalled out in the middle of Mist and Fury, and I only have, I think I have, counting today, I have 6 days to get this read. So we will see what happens. I mean, if we get partway through and then I have to switch to physical at the end, that's just gonna have to be. I'm gonna try to focus on this. So that's why I want to try to get Shards of Hope done today, so that Monday, you know, first thing when I'm exercising, I'm starting with this, and then I will continue, if I can during work, continue it for over the next couple days. I'm sure it's going to take me at least 3 or 4 of the days, and I think the book goes away on Friday. So we're going to try. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If I got partway through and I just stall out and I have to do another reread or do something else, then I will do that. It's just, but this is the book I'm focusing on this week because I want to finish this one. And then the Navigator's Children comes out by Tad Williams. And I won't physically get my book probably till the end of the week because of the way Barnes & Noble ships things. But my audiobook will come out. I will get that, you know, on Tuesday. So, I mean, but I want to finish this before I read The Navigator's Children. So, anyway. So those are my audiobook options. And as I said, and my physical, I'm going to start this one for nonfiction, A Tomb with a View. But I don't know what I'm going to read beyond that. Like, I know I'll probably pick another book off my shelf. I have so many. Because again, this Read What You Own is starting slow because I've reread a couple books already. So we'll see. But I have, as I said, I'm only number 3 in. I've done 3 that are on that list so far. 1 I finished and 2 DNFs. So that's not good. But we'll make progress on that. Again, my goal for Read What You Own, done by Olly. It's his kind of thing to read so many books before you can buy another book. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. As I said, I'm only at 3, and my goal is the 50 to try before I buy anything. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And again, I count DNFs because those books are leaving my shelf and off my TBR. The For Now ones, of course, are still here until I make a decision. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I think that's it. Cooper is here. My brother is probably just about back from the grocery store, so I will really have to go out and work at the garage. So I better go do that because I want to get it done early, so then I'm done for the day. So anyway, I will post this, and then we will check in later. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about maybe vlogging on Tuesday if my garage doors actually happen. But maybe not. I don't know. I might just post something on Instagram or something. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I will check with you guys later. Oh, and let me know what you guys are reading. How's your November reading going? Since mine is off to a very rocky start.